So, Julie, welcome to the Women's Empowerment Podcast. We're so excited to have you, and I cannot wait to hear all about Love a Village.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here and to be able to share what we're doing.
What inspired
Um,
you to get involved?
well, so when I was a little girl, I grew up with my dad working as a fundraiser for World Vision, and I was little, and at that time they would go to schools, they would go to camps, we went to different places, and I got to follow them around, probably to get me out of my mom's hair. And the old movie reels with the film, I would be participating and helping with that. But I remember largely, and I still have one distinct memory of on the screen, the little kids just being so different from me.
Mm.
But I was, I don't know how to link it together very well. Not great always, but I know my feelings are strong that I could identify on some level with the kids on the screen that seemed to come across as though no one cared about them.
Mm.
And I was bullied on the playground. I was one of the kids no one really cared about. So somehow that tied into it, just connected with me. And I remember just that being a little girl. And I think from that time, I was always like, I want to help somehow. And I never knew how. I do mine. I know not everybody holds the same faith, and that's totally cool. Mine grounded me in the idea that there must be a purpose for me
Mm.
sometime in my life. I didn't know what it would be. I didn't know when it would be or how, but I did know that I wanted to make a difference and help the little kids that I saw on this screen. And then it just kind of continued. I got married. I had my kids. And when my youngest were old enough, my sister invited me to go to Malawi with her. She knew I'd always wanted to go to Africa, partly because of the story from my childhood. And I went with an idea or my eyes trying to be open to how something that was birthed in my heart as a
Mm.
little girl might come to fruition. At this point, I think I was 40 at that time. So I was looking to see what might be out there. And that's how all the little pieces started to fall into place. And so in 2014, I registered with CRA, Love a Village, and got charitable status in 2015. And that's how that all started. So I founded Love a Village, um, pretty much birthed out of my childhood.
So, what was the transition like from your previous job to this? Like, I understand why you got there, but that is a big jump. That's a lot
Yeah,
of work, especially
yeah.
when you have four kids.
Yeah, I had four kids in 3.5 years. So I had twins in there. And I went through menopause when I had the twins. So I was 29, going through menopause. I just had the twins. I had a 2 and a 3-year-old. It was chaos. I do call them my hell years. They were awful. I had about 10 years where I was not surviving. I was fortunate to be able to be at home with them.
Mhm.
So I didn't have the stereotypical career. I didn't have yeah, I didn't even have an educational background to be able to have sort of a career of any kind. I did small odd jobs. My friend and I started a business, two moms and a mop, and we cleaned houses. And we did that once the kids were all in school age. Um, so there wasn't a huge jump from any career that way. I do agree that there's a lot of people who say, well, being a mom is a career, and it is.
It's a
I
job. It's a job.
it's huge. It's massive. And yeah. And it was I wasn't well through a lot of it at the beginning. So I think part of me there wasn't a huge transition, I guess, that I feel. Maybe other people would see that. And but I didn't have to go from anything. But my heart has always been to better the lives of other people. And I think that's always been something I do wherever I am, whether it be at home with the kids or the small jobs I had with my friend and those kinds of things. Yeah. So, and now my job is actually supply secretary in the school board because I don't have an education that can jump me into something. I was out of the workforce for whatever it was, 30 years. And I love the job I have. I'm in a school where the demographics are very similar to when I'm in Malawi in terms of the people, and I adore it. I just love it. I'm so glad I'm there full-time-ish.
Full time. And we have a little bit of a connection. We made the connection that you've
Yeah.
actually been at my kid's school,
Yep.
which is a small world indeed.
Yeah. Very cool.
What's the best part of your job? What is the part that lights you up?
Um, a lot. I think the biggest thing for me that I love, there's not much here in Canada that I love about it because in Canada, I do everything. I have all the hats. So I do the website, I do the fundraising, I do the newsletters, and I'm very, very poor at it because I'm a team player. And because it's just me here and those jobs can kind of get by on their own, I don't do well at that aspect here. But when I'm in Malawi, I light up when I'm sitting on the mat. We're out in rural northern Malawi. It's low-lying mountains where I live in a little house in a little town, just, and they call it the tarmac. So I'll use words that are kind of theirs because my brain is there. Just on the tarmac. And then we're 10 minutes up the road. And then we off-road for an hour and a half through the low-lying mountains. That's part of what I adore it. It's just free, it's fresh, it's hot sun. Sometimes we're in the back of the pickup. But then it's sitting with the villagers. I don't know their language. But I learn a little bit, and the thing that I've learned are body parts in particular. Wherever I go, I do my body parts, and they laugh, and I'm sure they're laughing at me, which I'm fine with. But sitting with them, there are times when we get to have a meal with them. We bring food so that we can feed the people that are in the family we might be with and our team. And we're sitting on the mats. It's just straw mats. They've handmade. Everything is, and it's the same meal every day, wherever we go. It's just maize, a corn base. It's like our cattle corn ground into flour, mixed with water. And then there's greens, and we usually bring some form of meat, chicken or something, to eat. And that's probably my favorite part, sitting out
Huh.
with the people, the little kids. Um, I always am very leery about whether to describe it a certain way because I'm very conscientious of not stereotyping people and
Hmm.
making, our society has, and our culture and our time in history is so sensitive to how we talk about things.
Hmm.
But they're kids in tattered clothes, holes. They're the stuff we ship over from first world countries in bins. They're getting them as hand-me-downs. They're often stained. They wear them until they're threadbare. And the kids are often snotty-nosed, and I love it. I just love it. My favorite part. I do.
Um, so what is your greatest win then? You've described a day there.
The first one small thing in terms of the greatest high for me slash win was my mom came on one of the trips with me, and about a week in, and she knew all the difficulties I'd been going through. This was I was 47 when she came, and she turned to me within the first week and she said, "You're you here." And
Ah.
at that moment, I knew exactly what she meant. I can still feel that feeling. And with each trip that I go, as soon as my toes touch the red dirt of Africa, my heart just sort of opens up again. And so being there is really a high for my spirit. And knowing that my mom saw me, the me that I am, was probably one of the most pivotal moments for me. And because I know that I'm me, the me that I was made to be. And so that was a huge win for me. Um,
Sounds like a TSN turning point.
yeah, yeah,
Sees in yourself what you see in yourself
yeah,
and points that out to you. That's an amazing thing to
yeah. And
feel,
especially for a mom to be doing that was
right? To
cool.
see that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
Live a life in a posture of humility where we're no one's above another, to like move aside the competition that our society, our culture, or whatever has always humanity.
Hmm.
But to live in a posture of humility. Don't live as though I have things to offer or to teach, but to live as though I have a lot to learn. I think that's the biggest thing, greatest advice I've received.
What do you think your secret sauce is? What is your special skill?
Is that the superpower one?
You
The
got it.
question you
What's your
said.
superpower?
So it's a bit different. I am different. I think people generally who know me consider me to be very different, a little odd. or
In a good
quirky.
way.
Quirky's the right, yeah. I'm learning that about myself. Having been bullied for most of my life, I may not come across having low self-esteem, but I've really struggled with that. I still do. So with this one, it was interesting. So my superpower, I think, for me is actually being different from the norm. I think it sets me apart in a way that I don't have formal degree or credentials that most people expect I would need to have or would have doing what I'm doing. But I didn't take the traditional route, but I'm here, and making an impact somehow. Like my approach isn't based on what's considered conventional. It's driven by a heart. Like my heart is big. My willingness is just as big. And I'm happy and willing to take risks, step into the unknown. And my superpower really is that I firmly believe I'm guided by my childlike mustard seed mountain moving faith that began in my childhood. So even though I lack all this other stuff, that's what fuels my ability to just sort of trust, because I don't feel like this is my work. People are like, look at what
Mm.
you're doing. I'm like, I'm not actually doing anything. I don't have the ability to do what's happening. So I'm just willing and I want to. And I think it's that is actually my superpower. It's something bigger than me. It's not me. And I think, yeah, that's all kind of a result of or packaged up into me being as different as I am.
And
Yeah.
embracing it now, knowing that being different is good. To make a
Yes.
difference, you need to
Yeah.
be different. I love
Yeah.
that quote.
Yeah.
So that's when you figure out how you can use your skill set in a way that you can embrace what you have already. And that's what you did. That's your superpower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And having good hair.
Oh, I did my Malawi hair because out there my hair is just big like this. So I thought, well, I might as well get the Malawi hair on. It just dries like
There you
big.
go. You're going for the full effect, right?
I am. I got my Malawi on.
So what's the best quote you've ever read that resonated with you?
You know what? I really like a lot of I don't know whether that it's a quote they've said, but it's something they've said that's been quoted, and it's Princess Diana. I
Ah,
really, yeah, I identify, I think, a lot with some of the things she says, and this is one that it's not, I don't know that it's a quote, but she says, I think the biggest disease the world suffers from in this day and age is the disease of people being unloved. She says,
hmm.
know that I can give love for a minute, for a half an hour, for a day, for a month, but I can give it. And I'm very happy to do that. And I want to do that. And I identify that. That's how I feel.
That's a
I'm,
beautiful thing to say, the kindness and giving someone the time of day and letting them feel your kindness and your love. And
yep,
that
if
makes
I
a
can just,
difference.
it does. I think so. If you can just love if someone who loves me for a minute or an hour or a month or whatever, when you can love or be loved, it's impactful. It just is. Yeah. And she wanted to do that. She was happy to do it. And that's how I feel too.
Now, when you think of empowering women, it, who are the women in your life that stood out to you?
There are many, but there are few. So
Hmm.
I actually really and they were women, they were girls. The people who've empowered me the most are the bullies on the playground.
Isn't that
Those
interesting?
that group of people are who have fueled what I'm doing. And I am thankful to them. I've written about it in places or talked about it. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that experience in my life and I'm thankful for them. And my daughters. My daughters
Oh.
have empowered me because I think having come from such a brokenness inside of myself and an insecurity, when I had these teenage girls, I was like I felt a lot of the time like I was back on the playground.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh, and if they didn't like something I did or said, just my reaction, I would notice. It took me a long time to sort of piece all that together with counseling and stuff and just realize they're not intending to hurt me. I'm safe, but they've also shown me how independent and strong and confident they can be. And somehow they're still my kids. Like I don't know where it came from. And they that strength that they embody empowers me. It just does.
Oh.
It makes me um yeah, their confidence and the fact that they are who they are. it really has. So I think those would be the two most significant. And the other one would be my principal that I work with. She has empowered me. She's encouraging. She's yeah, in terms of just the words she uses or the way she gives me things to do, whatever. They've given me a strength and a courage to sort of pick up and keep going.
So when you think of the word empowerment, what comes to mind?
Standing beside someone, alongside of them, offering encouragement for where they are, where they're at in this time in their life, seeing them, believing in them, and accepting them for who they are. So when someone is feels that they've been seen and that they're believed in or understood and then accepted, I think that's extraordinarily or can be extraordinarily empowering. So offering support, understanding them beyond what their words and actions might show and who they look like on the outside. That kind of thing, I think, is how I would define empowerment. Being there for someone, seeing them, acknowledging them, understanding them, and yeah, accepting them. Yeah.
So, a wonderful thing I read on your website was empowering women is crucial to ending poverty. And it
Yeah.
really resonated with me because we just sometimes think empowering women, it's job or status or whatever. On a base level, poverty, just taking them out of poverty for a better life and empowering them with skills and education.
Yep. They're the ones I do hate to say this aspect of it because it's hard for I don't even know what group of people. It's hard for many people to really I kind of accept
Mhm.
uh that education is like a formal education. It's not likely going to come to many of them in our
Mhm.
lifetime. They're in the middle of extreme poverty. They're struggling to keep their kids alive. Their kids are dying.
Mhm.
I've been to more
Wow.
funerals in Malawi than I have in my entire lifetime.
Wow.
So uh what was the question again? I lost track. Oh, empowering women. So yeah, so these women, they're often the heads of their household. They're the ones who run it. There's a lot of it's really interesting. There's a lot of still there's abuse in the families. Men often are out drinking. They just make their own, right, out of the maize husks and stuff like that. So they're making their own. So there's a lot of that. Women are the ones, they're the anchor in the home. They're the ones who are left with the kids if the man leaves. Or so
Mhm.
if you can empower them with skills, small business, those are the kinds of things, those skills, or just even we're helping to give the basics. So we're offering ways to find clean water. They're hand digging holes. It would be like going to the beach. You know, when you dig a hole for to bury your dad in the sand, they're digging holes like that for water. And
Wow.
this last trip I was on, one of the areas, we're in a new community, and the rains came early, and the rains just filled in their holes. So they had to go and dig new ones.
Wow.
And it's dirty water. The cattle go down there to drink and they stand in it and they poop in it. And it's just a hole. And it's just, it really is unfathomable. So helping them get access to clean water, there are different ways we do that. Provide them with ways to have better food and nutrition. There's a few ways we're doing that. So we're a holistic approach, and there's a lot of components to each area. But when you can provide them those kinds of things, particularly educating the women in our trainings, um, they have they're the ones who are taking care of the families and overseeing it. And we've had men say, "I want my wife to do it. She's way better at this than me. I leave her in charge of learning these things." And it's really exciting to see that because they're earning a little bit of money. Maybe they grow extra tomatoes, or we've given them goats, and they have to, once the first offspring are shared, which is part of the buy-in for them, then they can have the next set of goats and they can either eat them or sell them. But those little bits of ways of earning money are what's going to help them. Honest to goodness, it's not about buying the newest outfit, or
Mm.
it's about getting a new pot because the last one they've used for so many years, it's worn out, and maybe putting some sheet metal on their roof instead of grass, or saving enough to send one of their kids outside of the community to get to school, because secondary school you have to pay for.
Uh,
So it's really, really tough. It's really, really tough. But seeing we're not making the, we're a very tiny, tiny organization with a very large footprint. There are larger organizations, like the big ones you would all be able to name, with smaller footprints because they're just doing little one-off projects. They're still impactful and helpful, but
mhm.
we're tiny and we're doing this holistic approach, and it's working. It's helping.
So what would a day look like for yourself and your team? You're there for a few months at a time. What does a typical day look like?
So they're doing this 12 months of the year minus the rainy months, which are maybe 1.5 to 2 months. Right now it's rainy. So they still go in by motorbike. But when I'm there for 4 months, 2 and 2. We get up in the morning, they come to, we share, we're in a house where it's the office when I'm not there, it's my house when I'm there. And we all gather and we get on motorbikes or in the pickup, and we go in, and they're the ones who are organizing the implementation of the project. So they're the ones strategizing where to do it. They're following all the laws. They're working with government level officials at everything that we do, so that it's that they can check the proper boxes for their country, and we can also, as a Canadian charity, ensure that they're doing it right. So we're going in and we're just implementing these projects. So if it's a borehole, or there's different words, reticulated boreholes, or we're maintaining a borehole, or we're doing soil water filter trainings, or distribution of livestock, all those kinds of things. It's where we'll gather. They've figured out how they want to, they've strategized how they will gather. We're in a community of 44,000 people. So getting people to come to a place also involves they're walking by foot, or we have to
Right.
help pick them up along the road along the way, and they all pile in, and then we go somewhere and we do trainings. We have a meal together, and then we go home at the end of the day. So generally that's what's happening every day. And then there's reporting days where they're on the laptops and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that everyone is there welcoming you? Is there any resistance? Because change
No,
is sometimes difficult.
it is, but they're so they're desperate. They want help.
Mm,
And without getting into some of the reasons I would want to say that they're not able to get it, they want help, and they're
mm.
thrilled. They love having visitors. People have often asked, if I come on a trip, that's a lot of money. Isn't it better I just donate the money to the charity? And I'm like, well, they don't have visitors. They're just themselves all the time. They love hosting. There's a community there of warmth and sharing the little that they have. And so, yeah, there's resistance. Sometimes they're like, well, the way we've been doing it really works, and why would we change it? And we're like, well, you'd get a bigger bumper crop, perhaps from the way we want to help with this. And so there's sometimes resistance. But I tell people, it's like if I came into your home and I said, oh, your furniture needs rearranging. Let me do it for you. And I moved everything around. You'd be like, okay, yeah, I get this. This is nice. I like this. And after about 3 months, you're like, no, I want my table back over there, and I want right? So I do think it's part of it's human nature.
Right.
There are things we need and want, and then,
And
working
a little
together.
bit of trial and error, a little bit of education, a little trial and error, and
Yeah.
see how
Yeah,
that
and
works
our
out.
team is educating themselves regularly with information off the internet and through the government, and different strategies and ways of doing things. So they're pretty on the ball that way, which is good.
Okay, we're going to do rapid fire.
Yeah,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Describe yourself in one word.
Oh, you're gonna want a short answer. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's Mbuzi. Mbuzi is how I would describe myself. It's the nickname been given to me by Malawian, and it means goat. And I was named that because I'm usually all like flitty flighty like the little goats, and they hop around. But I've learned that goats are actually really smart. They're curious. They're social. They don't like being alone. And when I told my principal, I said, "What's a word to describe me?" And I said, "This is the one." She goes, "Well, don't you know what GOAT stands for?" I'm like, "Oh, I hadn't even thought of
In
that."
sport,
I'm in Boozy. That's my nickname.
goat. There you
GOAT.
go. What did you dream of being when you were a child?
I wanted to be a veterinarian and have a farm and be a mom.
Well, check, check.
Yep.
Um, If you had to choose between money or fame, what would it be?
That's hard. I finally decided because honestly, I don't really want either. But if I was to choose one, it would be fame because it usually comes with money. So, and the money is so that I can give it away. I really, really, if I could win the lottery, that's all I would love. And I just, because I would give it away. I just would. So both. Well, fame.
I'll take both.
Yeah,
Would you wake up early or stay up late to work?
I stay up late.
If you're writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
I've thought of this because I really, really, really want to
Ah,
write a book. And I've come up with there's three, the childlike mustard seed, mountain moving faith, somehow that'd be in there. Fearlessly afraid, or the one I think I would end up going with is voice of the voiceless, because that's who I am.
ah,
Yeah, I'm the
that's
voice,
lovely.
I'm their voice. Yeah.
Aside from necessities, what's the one thing you could not go without?
Oh, see, you're asking the wrong person all these questions. I got big words in my head. Necessities has to be defined because my necessities in Canada are very different from my necessities there. In Canada, I
Okay.
have a lip gloss in my pocket, but in Malawi, Malawi, it's what is it? It's water. It's basically just water. Yeah, you have to have it. It's a necessity.
True. Very true. And that
Yep.
we take for granted, right?
Yes. Yep.
What's the one thing you've always wanted to do in life, but you haven't yet?
Dog sledding, cattle drive, and give away $1 million.
You've thought about this. I love it.
And write my story. That's the biggest thing. I would love to write all of this somehow, but I don't know how.
No, we've got all the information right here. If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
That response, opportunity, no one chooses where they're born. Everyone gets dumped somewhere, and no one would choose to be born in extreme poverty. So when you're born into a life of opportunity, I would want to teach that that comes with the responsibility to share it and sort of balance because no one would want that. So you've been given opportunity for education, job, all that. Give it away. It comes with responsibility. That's what I would want to
It's
teach.
your duty to share.
It's your duty and to give generously to the point everyone, more generously because then you think we really, really can. We can give more than we do.
Okay, I love this. If you had a theme song that came on every time you walked into a room, what would it be?
Well, I've made my own theme song and I've blended
Of
two.
course you have.
I know, I'm terrible. So the song Sia sings, change something, the courage to change. So the words are world, I want to leave you better. I want my life to matter. The rain it falls and it pours on me and it sows seeds of love and hope. We don't have to stay here stuck in the weeds. And then she says, have I the courage to change? Have I got the courage to change today? And I word it, I have the courage to change the world. And world, you're not alone in this. You are not alone to the people that I love. They're not alone, and I promise it. Standing together, we can do anything. I want to leave this world better. And then the only other one that I add to it is I want to leave my footprints on the sand of time, knowing there was something I left behind. When I leave this world, I leave no regrets. I was here, I lived, I loved, I did, I've done. And I just want them, the people of Malawi, to know that I gave my all and I did my best.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's making me. Oh, wow. Um, Favorite entrepreneurial or empowerment book that you've read or article?
Yeah, I have to say I learn by doing. I don't learn by reading and listening. So to learn something empowering, I do. I'm not Yeah, my way of learning is not reading or listening. So, speaking like this is what empowers me. Getting to share what's going on. This is what empowers me. Talking about it, and brainstorming with the team and coming up with ideas and yeah, that's what empowers me to keep going. And if it has to be a book that my favorite empowerment book, it's the one I'm going to write.
The goat.
Right?
What's the one thing you've learned about yourself through your journey thus far?
I'm resilient. I'm resilient. And I'm a fighter and I'm a lover. Yep.
Good combination.
Yeah.
If you could sit down and have a 1 hour conversation with anyone in the world, live or dead, who would it be and why?
It would be my bullies. Um, I
And thank
don't,
them.
yeah, I would because I don't know what I'd want to, I don't think I need to discuss or I don't need to tear it apart and why or any of that. I just want, I would really love to meet them. Sit down with, I have one in particular and I would love yeah, tell her thank you. That was hard, but thank you. And if it was a villager in Malawi, I would want to find the oldest villager in Malawi and hear the stories behind when they were born through dictatorship, through democracy, colonialism. I'd want to hear their
You
viewpoint.
could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, whether it be about life or business. What would that advice be?
Um, Step into adventure, look for joy in small things, give generously, love without abandon. Yeah, learn as much about the world and other people as you can before you make your big life choices and be friendly with everybody because you can never go wrong with that.
So thank you for elevating, educating, and empowering women. And together we
Thank
rise.
you. Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on here. I do.
You are fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Can I add one more thing that I really want to
Yes.
just
Go.
we value stuff, status, accomplishments, everything. They value laughter because they don't have status, accomplishments, or any way to get it. They value laughter. It's the best.